Hello, welcome back to Tarot by Lodestone Productions, where we help you discover your true north. I am Aditi, and this is a message for whenever this message reaches you, because Spirit is not bound to our time and space continuum, and so the only time by which we tell time is divine time. Dig what I'm saying? So let us check our spiritual voicemail and see what's what. Shall we? Let's. Here we go. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for being so patient with me while life was lifing. I had to take a moment, and in typical reading fashion, one moment. Come on. There you go. There you go. Of course, he's going to ask to come back in, and I did not leave that door open. Whatever. Yeah, thank you for being so patient with me while life was lifing. I had to take some time because, quite frankly, your neighborhood friendly reader was exhausted. Yes. So now we're back on it and see how this time management works for both me and thee. Also, thank you for all of your likes, your comments, your shares, and subscribes. They are very much appreciated. And for the first 700 of you, you have a very special place in my heart. So, without further ado, let us see what Spirit has to say. All right. First step, Brother Earth and or Knight of Pentacles with the Seven of Earth and the Moon. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes. Eight of Pentacles, Three of Wind, and a Sister of Fire and or Page of Wands. You get what you need. Don't worry about what's happening right now, because just like everything else, this is all temporary. So if you are feeling out of sorts about, say, a particular loss that you have suffered with the Seven of Earth, with the Moon, not knowing how you're going to be able to recoup that loss, this is what you have considered a loss. But you still stay at it with the Eight of Pentacles. We're still working at it to mitigate these losses in the future. But with that Three of Wind sitting there, it's recognizing where the mistakes were made and knowing that, mistakes are going to happen. That's life. That's how this goes. And you can either choose to become a victim of it or participate in it. It's your call. But the Page of or Sister of Fire and or Page of Wands chooses to actively participate in this game called life. Okay. Then we have the Two of Fire, One of Wind, Six of Fire, the Emperor, Nine of Water, and the High Priestess. Okay, I'm with it. All right. So this perceived loss and how the Page of Wands comes in and basically gives you a bit of a choice, right? And with this choice, you can either somebody's going to be disappointed. Okay. Here it is depicted as the convergence. What happens after this convergence? Something will be forever changed. So this challenge that you have been facing, right? Once you make this decision, you're not going to see this challenge again. So if we're talking about this loss, right, this perceived, I keep calling it a perceived loss. I think what I'm getting, one moment. What I'm getting with the perceived loss is you were counting something that wasn't yours to begin with. And you really, you really hung your flag on something that was never yours. And while Spirit understands that there is disappointment surrounding that, Spirit wants you to know that, well, you weren't supposed to count that anyway. That's why it's not here. And out of that disappointment and choosing to actively participate in the healing process, winds up changing. You may find yourself changing in a way that you never could have anticipated. With this clarity and reciprocity that you also were not expecting. What? But with that reciprocity and that clarity, that means that you are in this leadership role. You are in this pole position. Now, for those of you of a certain age, you remember that video game, Pole Position. But basically, the pole position is the front runner of a race. If we're talking about levels of hierarchy, the highest that a human can get as far as leadership goes is emperor status. Okay, so yeah, pole position. With the Nine of Water and the High Priestess, there's this, you'd be feeling pretty good about being in that position. Also, you get the best advice with the High Priestess. If you want to stay silent, you can. Who's going to make you talk? You're the emperor, right? If you want to impart wisdom upon your subjects, you are also able to do so. Because not only do you have the position, this position was ordained by Source. Okay, you just wanted Eight of Pentacles, and Spirit was like, no. You thought that you had Seven Pentacles, but you didn't. And the reason why is because your pockets would have been too heavy when you got moved into this emperor status. Forever changed. The Nine of Water, there is this big moment. There's a call to take a moment and to be present, to fully recognize and understand just how far you've come. Give yourself credit for where you are and take a moment to be grateful, not smug, but be grateful for where you are. And also, because you have this freedom with your time, make sure that while you are spending this newfound free time, that you are consulting Spirit, that your prayer and your meditation life do not take the hit as a result of this new promotion. Four of Wind, the Fool, Three of Fire, Eight of Wind, Strength, and the Universe. Okay, so while you have a moment to pause, take it, because you're moving quickly into a new journey, right? With the Four of Wind, this is, it's time out. Time out. Hold on. Pause. Right? It's that card of rest. Disco naps. Yes, disco naps. When you sleep hard and fast. Okay? You ever take those 10-minute naps and you wake up fully rested? Four Swords. Or Wind in this deck. Okay? Because you will need that energy to start this new journey that you're on with this Fool, right? You don't know where you're going, or what you're doing with the Moon. You don't know what any of this is. You just know that it's time to go, right? With the Three of Fire, that's the promises that God has given you. This yearning in your heart to do the things, and you setting out to do the things and to stay in communication, comes with a set of promises that were given to you for your benefit, solely for your benefit. All right. And this is standing in the faith that these promises are going to come to fruition in your lifetime. That doesn't mean that you get to stand in one space and wait for these things to come in. No, you have to move when Spirit says to move, because Spirit is lining you up with the things that want to be with you. Okay. Eight of Wind, strength in the universe. Eight of Wind and or swords. This is what Green Eyes calls toilet paper torture, right? You feel like you are stuck, which is different from being bound. Okay. Restricted, bound, two different meanings. We like to use them interchangeably, but God is in the details. So, Eight of Swords and or Wind, power shield. Feels, you can't see it, but it's there. You can't see it because your eyes are bound. Okay, this power shield that you have around all of the things that you want and that want, ooh, Spirit, ouch. You set this perimeter up, putting a roadblock between you and your blessings based on your perceived limitations. But you are only limited because your eyes are shut. That's the power shield. You have the ability and the permission to open your eyes and find an actual solution, right? But this barrier that you have put around what you want can be the negative self-talk, taking others' projections about you. You know the drill. The shit that you tell yourself that ain't true. Yeah. So strength. One of those. Oh, I see how that's playing out. Okay, so one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is that our shadow self is something that it's not worthy, right? It's bad. It's wrong. It needs to be stifled. Like Dr. Dre said, y'all gonna keep fucking around with me and turn me back to the old me. That's, that feral self. Okay. And I like to use the feral versus the refined self when I talk about the strength card. It sums it up a little more succinctly for me personally. But yeah, that's what it is, because you have the earthy serpent here, and then you have more of like the more lush serpent, right? So if we're talking about blending the duality of you and understanding that you need both in order to move forward, in order to grow, in order to graduate with the universe. And the Eight of Wind is saying that no, these two need to stay separate, because you have your enlightened side, and your non-enlightened side. And only the enlightened side gets to go forward. But the thing is, the non-enlightened side is only not enlightened because you have been told that it is. Come on, Spirit. And you believed it. But you need the entirety of you in order to move forward, in order to get to this new level, this emperor level type shit. The whole you needs to go. Understand, even looking at this man, understand that, remember that even though he sits high and looks down and he tells kings what to do, okay, so he can speak to high-ranking members of society as an authority figure. But that also means that that emperor needs to know how to throw hands. That emperor needs to know that sometimes somebody's going to have to lose their head over some dumb shit. And the emperor is going to have to make that call, right? So the tiny emperor that had to learn all of this, the tiny emperor that had to go through all of the pain to learn a lot of these difficult lessons, right? And as we were learning these lessons, sometimes you may behave in an unsavory fashion. But you know what you know at the time that you know it, right? You know enough to be an authority figure. So if you are in a position of telling kings what to do, then you would be doing yourself a disservice to stay in this Eight of Wind position, limiting yourself and your own power because you think that you need to split and compartmentalize yourself in order to move forward. But what these cards are saying is that this new attitude, Patti LaBelle, has to do with combining all of these parts of you and taking that entire package across the stage to get your degree and to move your tassel from one side to the other. We've got Sister of Water, the Magus and or Magician, Five of Fire, Five of Wind, Four of Fire, and the Hanged Man. So, graduation, right? After graduation, and after everything is all said and done, and now it feels real. Oh my goodness, I've actually graduated. And now I gotta do something different. There's something else that needs to happen next. What next, right? The Page of Cups, Sister of Water, she's learning how to work with these new emotions. She's teaching you how to work with these new emotions. If you have been the person to say that your emotional side is irrational, and that since it is irrational, it does not deserve any more time in the driver's seat. The Sister of Water would be like driver's ed for your heart space, for your emotions. Because there are going to be times when the emotions are going to have their time in the spotlight. But you got to know how to work with it before that time comes. Because you know what you've done before. And you didn't like what you did before when the emotions were up front. You've got the Magician and the Five of Fire. Now is the time to practice these things. It is going to be difficult. These lessons are going to be difficult. There's no getting around that. Between the 5 of fire and the 5 of wind, so you've got the physical challenge and you also have the mental challenge here. All right, because now that you have all of these working tools, you get to learn just what these working tools do when you start combining them and making super tools, right? There's chaos in both of these. Chaos can definitely happen with these 5s because those odd numbers talk about like growth and expansion. So 3, okay. 3 is when you go from like a 2 to a 3, that's a stable transition, right? That's the lowest amount of legs that a table can have and still be solid, right? 5 legs on a table, not so much. Okay, that's not stable at all. 5 is a little wonky, right? A little volatile. It can be volatile. And so you've got that wonkiness happening. If you are in a 5-man cage match, you've got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to stay nimble. You got to be ready for anything, right? When you are dealing with 5 of wind or 5 of swords, this talks about empty victories, going off on the right person at the wrong time with the wrong intention. 5 of wind, right? Malicious gossip, absolutely. You know, if people are talking about you and spreading rumors about you, 5 of wind. Okay, then you've got the 4 of fire and the hanged man. So the 4 of fire is stability. 4 of wind, 4 of wands, stability, foundation, right? This is recognizing the earth, the fire, the water, and the air. You know, recognizing the 4 pillars and have an understanding of the significance of these pillars and what they are doing in each direction and how they actually work for you, right? It's also a position of advantage to have this here in the midst of all this newness and chaos. Okay, and then we've got the hanged man. So we were talking about this disco nap here with the 4 swords. The hanged man is also another card of woe. Hold on. Now, hold on. The hanged man understands that the reason that they are here is because of the choices that they made. And those bells cannot be unrung. And so they are taking this time now in this precarious position to breathe and look at the information that is being presented to them in a different light. Because this, just like everything else, is only temporary. 7 of water, Mother Earth, 9 of wind, 1 of water, the Wheel of Fortune, and Mother Wind. Okay, so when I was talking about the 5 just being kind of wonky, you know, because we're still talking about like growth and expansion, but the uncomfortable part of the growth, like, you know, the place where like the skin breaks and all that good stuff. Okay, so we get to the 7 of water. There's still more uncertainty, but this winds up being, again, each odd number has their own take on challenges of stability. And with the Seven of Water, it's more like a I'm seeing like a, not a thunderstorm, but just a rainstorm, but a really heavy one. You know, you have all of these decisions, you can do all of the, you can go in all of these directions, right? But you don't know what's in the cup until you actually grab the cup. So in order to choose the correct one, in the midst of all of this precipitation, right? You have this connection with Source to help guide you into the best direction for you. But the Seven of Waters in and of itself is the multitude of choices. There's so many ways that we can go with this. So you've got the Mother Earth and the Nine of Wind. You've got abundance here, and plenty of it. Not just for you, but for those that come after you. The people that are around you. You know, you have you bring good vibes, man. You bring the right vibe to the party. And you enhance the lives of everyone you touch. And while operating in that, we still have the Nine of Wind over here. And this is the negative self-talk, the things that keep you up at night, ruminating over problems that you can't solve right now because it's 3 a.m. and there's not a GDMF thing you can do about it right now. Yeah. This is not believing in your abundance, not believing that you are successful, not believing that you are in this position of leadership and that you are worthy of the blessings that have been bestowed upon you. And then you've got the One of Water, Wheel of Fortune, and the Mother of Wind rounding us out. So this negative self-talk that is stressing you out, it's actually getting in the way of you being able to function for some of you. Big time. And there's this desire to just wash it out. Shut this shit up. Go into the heart space. Make sure that everything is clean and clear over here so that you can hop on this Wheel of Fortune that is turning in your favor. You've been on the dark side, and the dark side is starting to break. There's some light coming. The sky used to be midnight blue, just the deepest blue black, not even a star in the sky, just inky, you know. And now you're starting to see that the blue is getting a little lighter. You're starting to see, you know, a little indigo start to come in. And so you want to make sure that in the darkness of it all, that all of these things are cleared out, so that when you do come into this Mother Wind or Queen of Swords energy, that you have already cleared out all of the things that would get in the way of you being able to counsel your subjects, so that when you do drop that sword, that you drop it justifiably, and that you're not just swinging it around because you are mired down with your own self-doubt. All of these things are temporary. We are constantly moving and changing and evolving. But understand that even with the changing and the evolution, that you are supposed to be here. That you are supposed to be in this leadership position, because it is your time. It is your time and you are ready. All right, thank you for taking the time to hang out with me today. And until we meet again, remember to be good to yourselves and to each other. I will see you next time. Bye now.